Okay, now you know the names of the white keys on the keyboard. It's time to learn the names of the black keys. The black keys are the sharps and the flats. Every black key has two names, just like a lot of people have two names. It's the same note, but we can call it by two different names. It gets its name from the white key that it is near. So, for instance, this key right here is a half step higher than C, so we're going to call it C sharp, because it's higher than C. This key is a half step higher than D, so we're going to call it D sharp. Similarly, this key is a half step higher than F, so it's F sharp. This is a half step higher than G, so it's G sharp. And this is a half step higher than A, so it's A sharp. Just think about if you sit on something sharp, your body's going to go up. So the sharps get their name from the white key that it's up from, that it's higher than. The flats get their name from the white key that it's lower than. If you sit on something flat, your body's going to go down. So this note right here is lower than D, so we're going to call it D flat. This one's lower than E, so we're going to call it E flat. So you notice that that black key has two names, D sharp or E flat. This is lower than G, so it's G flat. This is lower than A, so it's A flat. And this one's lower than B, so we call it B flat. Now the distance between a white key and a black key is a half step. Because if you notice, if you look up here, they're right next to each other, so that's a half step. From that key to that key is a half step. From between these two white keys, that's also a half step. There's no black key in between, so from E to F is a half step. Because of that, sometimes this white key is also called E sharp, because it's a half step higher than E. And this white key is often called F flat. I shouldn't say often. We actually rarely use these names for these keys, but just so you know, there is an E sharp on the keyboard, it's just not black. So any two notes that are right next to each other are called half steps. So from F to F sharp is a half step, but from F to G is a whole step, because there's a half step in between. So two halves make a whole. Okay, those are the names of the black keys.